How's it going, everybody? Thanks a ton for tuning in, and welcome back to the Have a Go Talk Show. I'm your host, Dylan Saucedo, and today we're breaking down Week 13 in the MLR with some recaps and some predictions for Week 14 as we have a really quick turnaround to get into this next week of rugby. Now, power rankings will come out tomorrow after the Seawolves game tonight. Going to be a big one for the Western Conference for sure, and hopefully to see the Seawolves get a big win there. A big implication there for the Western Conference standings and a huge thing for the playoff push as we get into the end of the season here. Now, Week 13, kicking off with a big one, Miami Sharks versus NOLA Gold at NOLA. Now, this is a great game of rugby. Miami, again, playing some really dynamic rugby, but NOLA playing some real team ball. Both these teams putting in a great performance. Miami does get the win, 25-19. I ddid pick NOLA in this one. They've been scoring a ton of points. We keep talking about it, but Miami was able to play some great defense, take advantage of some of those penalties, go for points. Shane O'Leary putting in some great kicks with his boot this weekend. I think 4 for 5 from him on the day. So some great points there, and Miami able to get a couple of extra points there and take the win there, 25-19. Start off 0-1 for Week 13 on a tough one for sure. Moving into that next one, we had Chicago taking on Free Jacks at the home of New England. Now, New England playing some great rugby, very consistent rugby as well. Something that I like to see for sure is that consistency, right? Putting the same performance week in and week out against these great teams. New England took the loss to Chicago earlier in the year in Chicago. Now playing at the Free Jacks home this time. Chicago not able to get their thing kind of rolling, not in the best form over the past few weeks, but Free Jacks have been in great form. The Free Jacks get the win here, 27-17 in a great matchup. Now, one thing I want to note about this one, felt like a test match to watch, right? I've been to a couple myself, USA versus Stade, New Zealand versus Fiji, and I can confidently say this was just like that USA versus Stade match. Obviously, Tier 1 rugby players on both sides of the pitch there. This one, really experienced players for sure. Chicago's Tim Swiel, number 10, played 10 plus years of professional rugby. DHL Stormers, Chicago Hounds, I think the Harlequins as well. So some great players on that side. And the Free Jacks, obviously a real tight side. A lot of these guys have been here for a couple of years with the Jacks, and real tight culture there. I know my guy Wheels over there is putting in some great work as their kind of manager guy, doing some great work for the culture in the community as well. So Free Jacks all around a great program, a great organization, and they get the win here, 27-17 on the weekend. Now this makes the Eastern Conference a little bit tight in the top standings there. Anthem was released from playoff contention this morning due to their loss on the weekend. Now starting 0-12, not the best look for them this year, but some great performances for sure. Going to keep the East very tight in the top there with New England's win and with their kind of drop out of playoffs. I think 6 teams there in the East, and definitely going to have to raise the bar a little bit there for the rest of those teams to make sure they get into the playoffs at the end of the season here. Now, Road to the Shield starts now. We saw a big matchup in the Western Conference as well. San Diego versus Houston SaberCats. Now, Houston taking the trip down there to Southern California. I did have Legion winning this game. They've been putting in they've been playing some great rugby, scoring a lot of points. That 7-style attack is getting back into form. But the SaberCats played them already this year one time, made those adjustments, were able to play some great defense. They come away with the win 37-20. AJ Alatimu and their other kickers putting in some great work from the boot and making sure to get those points on the board, take advantage of those penalty kicks, and get the win at the end of the night. So 37-20 for the Houston SaberCats there, a big win for the Western Conference standings, and unfortunately another loss to my record on the weekend. I did pick the Free Jacks in that second game, so we do start 1-2, but a tough one there nonetheless. Now, moving into that last game of the weekend, not of the week, we got RFCLA taking on Anthem. It was 47-17 in favor of RFCLA. Now, RFCLA really putting in some great work over the past few weeks. They had a tough start to the year, had a couple of big wins in a row, 2 or 3 losses in a row as well, and now they're back on their front foot, putting in some great performances, getting into that end of the season form, and their veterans stepping up like I told them to. But Anthem obviously also putting in some great rugby, just not enough for RFCLA. I think their defense is really a huge problem for Anthem right now. They're making some great tackles. There's 2-man tackles, really dominant, just not being able to kind of spread their team wide and attack on the edges. Getting slaughtered on the edges for sure this year. Want to see them get a win. Was not this weekend. 45-17 final score there, and I end the weekend 2-2 for Week 13. Now, something I didn't make note of at the end of the week last week in that last video was the fact that Monday night, tonight, there's a big game, Western Conference, Seattle Seahawks taking on the Utah Warriors, and I didn't talk about this at all. Now, obviously, going to pick Seattle for this one. Got to support my boys. Going to make my way out there to the match as well, so really excited to watch this game. But Seattle putting in some great performances over the past few weeks. Haven't had a game in a couple of days, and Utah, I think, are 1 week out from the last matchup. So really excited for this one. Like that test environment, like the Chicago game. I think it's going to be another one for this one tonight. Really excited to watch it and hoping to see the Seawolves get a big win for their Western Conference standings in the playoffs. And really excited to see it. But like I talked about, a real quick turnaround from Week 13 to Week 14. I honestly thought that this Monday game was a part of Week 14. It happens to not be. So this is a Week 13 matchup between Utah and Seattle. Now, both these teams will have another game for Week 14. And we have a quick turnaround for that. Tuesday night, we got some picks and predictions coming up for you guys here. So Nola Gold versus Old Glory. Get big matchup here for the Eastern Conference. Now, Nola putting in a great performance last week. Had a tough loss. Old Glory, a bye last week. Got some rest under their belt. They're back at home. Going to have to take Old Glory in this one to get the win. They need a big win. Been playing some real good team rugby. That clutch factor is a big piece for Old Glory. I think at home, going to be too strong for this Nola side. Hoping to see Nola put in some great performance, or a great performance as well. But I do think the Old Glory is going to take it over the weekend, I guess on Tuesday night, so tomorrow night. But big one shaping up there for sure. Now moving into the rest of Week 14, we have Friday, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday, and I think 1 on Monday as well. So we'll chat about those now. New England taking on Miami in South Florida. Going to be a big one for sure. I think if Miami can play their dynamic rugby in the back line, get the ball to the edge and get away from those kind of middle defenders in that New England defense, I think they'll be able to get the win. But I do know New England playing some really consistent rugby. Their veterans stepping up at the end of the season here, and that forward pack just absolutely dominant over the past few weeks. I do think New England gets the win here, but I do also think that Miami has a great chance of getting the win as well. If they can play their dynamic rugby and get away from that defense in the midfield, I think they might be able to itch out the win, but I do think that New England will be too strong. They get the win on the weekend on Friday night. Now, Saturday, 2 matches. We got Utah at Houston, San Diego at Seattle. Now, 2 massive matchups for the Western Conference. Obviously, those standings are pretty tight right there right now. I'm going to take a look at the standings and the power rankings as we move into next week. But these 2 games, taking a look at them, Utah at Houston. Now, Utah playing tonight. Turn around, play a game on Saturday. Not sure if they're going to be able to have all the energy for that game. Houston, a really strong side at home. Everybody usually is. I'm going to take the SaberCats in that one to win on Saturday night. Now, really want to see Houston put in some consistent performances, right? They just got the win against Seattle or against San Diego this last week. I want to see them do it again. Their forward pack's been electric. Their boot has been absolutely on point, and I think that's going to be too much for Utah Warriors. Now, moving into that next game on Saturday, we've got San Diego versus Seattle, down or actually up in Seattle in the Pacific Northwest. Now, San Diego Legion need them to be consistent. I want to move them up in the rankings. Can't really without the consistency. Seattle putting in some great performances. Need another one this weekend. I'm going to absolutely have to take Seattle. Legion, one of my home state teams, I guess. Do live 9.5 hours away from them, so not the closest team to me. But Seattle gave me a great opportunity. Got to be my team, and I'm going to take them for the win here. Seattle over San Diego in Week 14. Now, 2 more games to round out Week 14, and we'll finish off the video here. Old Glory versus Anthem, and Monday night we've got RFCLA at Chicago. Now, both of these games going to be huge, a big matchup in the Eastern Conference between Old Glory and Anthem. Now, Old Glory does not want to be the team that Anthem gets their first win against. I think they're going to be a tough team to beat on the road. Anthem putting in some great stuff on their home pitch this year. I want to see Anthem get this win. Just can't pick them for the weekend. Going to have to take Old Glory in that one on Sunday night for sure. Now, moving into Monday, RFCLA at Chicago. Both these teams, real experience for sure. Number 10, Tim Swiel from Chicago Hounds, played 10 years with professional rugby, I think, with the Harlequins, DHL Stormers, and now the Chicago Hounds. RFCLA's got a couple of guys like that as well. Reese McDonald, obviously, playing some great professional rugby. Gonzalo Bertrano, an international star in the Rugby World Cup. And, guys like that really need to step up for this team. RFCLA, Billy Meeks as well. Some great vets in their team. Going to need to step up for this one. Backline, I think, is what's going to be the separating factor here. 2 star-studded backlines. It's going to be a great one to watch. Going to have to take Chicago at home, though. I think they're going to get the win at SeatGeek Stadium to start off Week 15, or I guess finish off Week 14, whatever that is there. But, going to take the Hounds in that one to finish off Week 14. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Really want to get this information out to you guys in good manner. Obviously, really tough with a Monday game to kind of kick off the week. I really want to do a Monday review of all the games on the weekend, so it's fresh in my mind. Just watch them on the weekend. I do pay $17 to watch ESPN Plus every week, so you best believe that I'm watching every game there is. This weekend was actually at dinner, had my computer and my cell phone sitting there watching these two games on ESPN Plus. So just some great stuff there, and really happy that we have this partnership with ESPN, able to get those games on a high end network. And you have a really good broadcast to watch those games as well. So really excited to watch these games this week. Week 15 is going to come out as fast as well. But right now, we're going to focus on these ones. If you haven't yet this year, go watch some rugby. I'm telling you right now, this MLR season has been the best so far. It's getting up there with Super Rugby. It's getting up there with URC. There's obviously still a pretty thick line. I would say the line's probably about this thick still, if you will. Probably about as thick as the ball here. But, the league, the level of play, raising up quite a bit this year. The professionalism, obviously making a jump this year as well. The media showcase, obviously doing a great job this year to go with that. And, we're really excited to watch it. USA, we're growing. Rugby is on the rise here in the States, and we're really excited. I'm all here for it, and I want you guys to be along here for it as well. Go watch some games. Hit me up for the ESPN Plus password if you need it. And thanks a ton for watching. When you're done, like, comment, share, and subscribe at Have a Go Talk Show on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Cheers.